My name is Franklin Hall. In 2013, I had a conflict with the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Falling into that big blob of goo was supposed to be my origin story, because on Earth 616, I am a formidable foe of the Avengers. However, I still have yet to get out of that goo, and my postponed vilification has made me even more appreciative of those who have been able to become the antithesis of those iconic superheroes. I have created this series in the efforts of digging deep into each of their lives and what's going on, especially right after a traumatic event regarding a clash with those superheroes. This is Post-Defeat! Not all of us are lucky enough to be able to take down the superhero single-handedly. I mean, considering that I've got the power to control gravity, I'm pretty much good flying solo. But as for the villains who are not that lucky, they understand the importance of teamwork, strength in numbers. This is especially a necessity when it comes to superhero teams, but if you're going up against one single hero, a prepubescent one of that, then it's a battle already won. You've already got it. You're good to go. So you would think that this was a no-brainer. A underground community, no, family of supervillains, a family company devoted to making themselves rich, and no other reason, because they have simple dreams. They don't want the big stuff, like world domination. They just want to steal some shit, make some money, and allow the crime community to grow and flourish by offering tip-top technological advances. These are the kinds of crimes that are so minor that the Avengers wouldn't give two shits about them. But do you know who would? A low-scale superhero. One who is so minor and insignificant, despite being a huge deal in real life, but not in this universe. No one gives a shit about this shit, which would make this a surprising match for this underground community, and would eventually cause their downfall, due to loss, due to failure. Maybe I can see what can be salvaged from this rubble. Maybe this team could become anew. But alas, the founder of this team was incarcerated, and it is next to impossible to get a hold of him. So I had to go with the second in command. It's a lot easier to gain permission for him to be temporarily released. I just had to sign a whole lot of waivers. Oh, the things I do for this show. Maybe I should have gone for that other guy. But no, I didn't sign all that paperwork for nothing. Everything has been locked, and the interview is set. So tell me, how was the trip from the big house?
I'm sorry, did you not see that big-ass containment unit they kept me in?
No, I understand, Mr. Montana. I can understand if you were claustrophobic, but don't worry. Look at how big this studio is. Look. Wide open spaces. For the time being, until this interview is over. But that is why we should make the most of this, right? Make the most of an interview. That's what I say.
Back it up right now. Did you just refer to me as Mr. Montana?
Oh God, I'm sorry. My bad. I guess only your friends get to call you that. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry. Right. You want me to be formal with you? Okay, I'll be formal with you. Mr. Bryce. Yes, Mr. Jackson Bryce.
Oh God, I can't believe this. I just simply can't.
Oh, not Jackson Bryce either? Then what the fuck do you want me to call you? The Shocker? Well, I mean, it's not the most creative supervillain name since that's what you do, but if you want to name yourself after a sex move, then who am I to judge?
Oh, God damn it. I'm not Jackson Bryce.
Wait, you're not? But that's who becomes the Shocker.
I'm sorry. You're familiar with the previous incarnations of the Shocker, right?
Yes, such as the spectacular version in the animated show that everyone deems as the best Spider-Man thing ever, and anything else animated with Spider-Man on it can suck ass. Their words, not mine.
Have you seen anything else besides that?
Regarding you specifically, not really.
Well, sorry to burst your bubble, but Jackson Bryce is not the Shocker. At least, not originally.
Wait, you mean to say in Earth 616 it was someone else?
Yes, and that someone else is me, Herman Schultz.
Oh, now it makes sense. That's why you were a different race than what I saw a picture of. Wow, that's kind of unexpected that the MCU would actually homage the Spectacular Verse by making Shocker Montana Bryce instead of you. Usually they try to sweep that show under the rug.
Well, I mean, there was that Blu-ray release. It's just that they don't want to go back to it. They just want to keep going forward with more and more cartoon reboots.
So, both of you were the Shocker? How does that work? Do you, both get into the costume at the same time? Is it sweaty in there? Are you both naked in there or something? Did you hate each other at first, but then you found something in common, and then it grew into a budding relationship?
God, no! It was one at a time. First, he was the Shocker, but then I was the Shocker, and I continue to be the Shocker long after our crew disbanded.
Oh, I see. So why did Montana decide to quit? Did he do it so that he could put together the MCU version of the Enforcers?
No, I'm not sure if anyone's really that interested in seeing a group of cowboys who have nothing else to them other than the fact that they're gangsters who kinda dress up as cowboys a little bit. So no, that's not the reason why he stopped being the Shocker. The reason why he stopped was because he was incinerated into ash by Vulture.
Really? The Vulture is that badass? I thought he was just some decrepit little elderly senior citizen who's like, oh, I'm so old. Oh, I'm gonna dress up as a bird and harass the spider kid. And then I'm going to throw bread at my brothers and sister pigeons. Thank you, pigeons. Thank you for your friendship. I am going to fuck every single one of you pigeons.
As realistic as that sounds, I'm afraid not. He is a stone-cold murderer. He hasn't been ticked off yet.
Really? I mean, you just said that he killed your coworker.
Well, the thing is, he did that by accident. I'll blame our tech guy. He's not exactly on top of identifying what gizmo does what. And so this shit happened. One of our men got disintegrated, and so I had to pick up the pieces. Not Montana's pieces, of course, because that's gross, but I had to take on his job now and finish what he started as the Shocker.
Yes, once again, most creative name ever.
Hey, I didn't come up with that shit, he did. I just decided to not rename the persona because it was out of respect for the dead.
Okay, now I get it. You would think that a more rational boss would just maybe cut a little bit out of his pay, or maybe force a leave of absence without pay. You know, something a little not too over the top discipline like that.
Can you really blame my boss? He got screwed over big time.
Ooh, tragic backstory time.
Why are you so excited about that?
Well, I mean, do you have a tragic backstory?
Probably not. I was just a construction worker who happened to work for Tombs, but then he decided to be a criminal all of a sudden, so I thought, oh fuck, I guess I'm a criminal now.
See, that's not as interesting as what's potentially in store for Vulture's backstory.
Huh, I guess I see your point. But you probably already know it, right?
Yes, I did do the research, but that's not as good as hearing first-hand accounts.
Alright then, I'll tell you what happened. So you remember the New York events of 2012?
Yes, I remember. It's the events that seem to come up the most throughout the MCU, even though a whole bunch of other shit, arguably more massive than that, has happened since.
Hey, we talk about Sokovia from time to time.
Yeah, but not in the Netflix shows.
Don't remind me of that. Anyway, it was gonna be a massive payday. But then wouldn't you know it?
Adrian Toombs was nothing more than a mild-mannered construction manager. But the thing that changed him is when he got screwed over by Damage Control. The very program led by Tony Stark, taking away all the job opportunities that had just fallen on Adrian's lap. But to most people, this is all that Damage Control is, just a plot point. What they don't realize about Damage Control is that this is one of the most important staples that the Marvel Universe relies on. This is the company that you go to whenever your shit gets destroyed by superheroes, with hardly any expense for the person getting the shit fixed. This is why none of the superheroes have to deal with this financially or get sued. Even us supervillains are very appreciative of their endeavors. I mean, we don't like big messy shit either. We want cleanliness too. So of course this company deserves the spotlight, which is why they've got a pilot order to be on ABC as a sitcom. Now I know what you're thinking. Something very similar to this has been done, and it crashed and burned. But that's because it had no base. This, on the other hand, has been proven to be a concept that works. Not to mention that this is a corner of the Marvel Universe that has its own villains to show off. Granted, it borrows a couple, but who doesn't? You've got your sentient building, you've got your fat guy in a frog costume, you've got your evil superpowered construction workers, who, might I add, are some of the most iconic villains that Marvel has to offer. And that's not the only superpowered construction worker you've got. You've also got the one who is one of the most powerful characters in all of the universe. I mean, he almost destroyed all life as we know it. Blinded by his raw power, thinking that if he destroyed everyone, he would destroy destruction itself. Since his job of a construction worker is to be anti-destruction, although there is the fact that he easily got defeated by being fired, and then we never saw him again. He didn't die or anything, he just stopped being there. And then last, but certainly not least, you've got the most important villain of damage control ever. The one who has a tragic past with the company, because he used to be one of their best employees. I'm talking about Eugene Strouser, who started out as one of those wacky, bumbling characters who uses his technological genius, but then something happened. He was laid off. He would team up with another bumbling fat guy who was wronged by the company, and together they became a duo of robot-armored supervillains. Let's just ignore the part where they easily got defeated, and then Eugene would show up later with parole and would basically pick up where he left off, with everyone being pretty much okay that their co-worker is a former supervillain. But now's the chance to stretch that out and make it less rushed. The world needs Eugene Strouser in it. They need the comic book version of Ken Bone. Except Eugene's relevancy will last a lot longer.
Really? Did you just really glorify the company that my team hates with a burning passion?
Hey, at least you now recognize it. And that's all that matters, is that you give it the credit it deserves.
Okay, great. The moment I get my ass out of jail, I'm gonna destroy damage control. How about that?
Ooh, that means you might get a guest spot on their TV show.
But what does it matter? My team is kaput. I might as well not do anything now. I mean, I don't have my own motive. My motive was just to serve the team. But now that the team is dead, there's no point.
Hey, come on now. Don't be a Debbie Downer to yourself. You've still got all kinds of opportunities.
I highly doubt that, considering how I was taken down.
Now don't beat yourself up for being taken down by a little prepubescent arachnid boy. You are not the only one who was taken down by him, alright? So was your boss. You gotta remind yourself that.
Oh, you really do have only second-hand knowledge, huh? Well, yes, that part about Vulture is true, but not about me.
You mean to say you weren't taken down by Spooderman, aka Penis Parker?
I don't know who this Penny S. Parker is. But no, it wasn't him. It was his fat little chubby friend.
Oh, I see. You would have preferred to have a more dignified defeat at the hands of the hero, but instead you had to settle for the supporting character. It's cool, man. You're not the only one. It's cool.
You don't understand what it's like to think you're gonna have this big climactic battle, especially when this was the perfect chance to finally put on your supervillain outfit. But not only did I just keep wearing what I wore before, which looks kind of like the Shocker outfit, but not really, I didn't even get defeated by the fool who I was fighting. And I got sucker punched by a fat boy.
Okay, first of all, you weren't the only one who was not at his best. Aren't you forgetting that Spider-Man didn't have his cool-ass costume?
Yeah, I guess that was that. Both of us thought it was Casual Fridays. But what other reason is there for not being embarrassed by that?
Because that wasn't just any fat boy that did you in.
Wait, do you know who this fat kid is or not?
Well, I know who he is, but I have theories as to who he could be in the future. Yes, a lot of people were bewildered by the fact that Spider-Man has a best friend who knows who the hell he is and is his eyes in the skies, his Felicity Schmoke, his Cisco Ramon, his son of Toyman, his why does this keep happening? Oh, that's right, because it worked really well once or twice, and now we have to use it all the goddamn time. But there's not a character like this in Earth 616. Well, technically, there's two characters like this. One is pretty much Ned to a T, except he goes by Gank. He's also based on Ned Leeds. And that's the reason why he gets his own segment. Because he is destined to become one of Spider-Man's most formidable foes, the Hobgoblin. Oh, wait a minute. He wasn't the Hobgoblin. He was framed. I mean, it would make it really ironic that he wants to be Peter's guy in the chair. Sure, Ned, you can be the guy in the chair. It's just gonna be in a way you really didn't expect. But do we really want him to be the Hobgoblin? If he's gonna be a supervillain eventually, wouldn't it be more interesting if he was a more recognizable one? Like, I'm not sure how many people would be happy about that. But the similarities are there. He already looks like Otto Octavius. He's got the same body type and the same haircut. Maybe not the same ethnicity, but we don't give a shit about that with other characters, so why would we give a shit about here? And of course, there's the fact that he's technologically skilled. I mean, he's practically already Dr. Octopus. All you need to do is have him come up with the tentacles because he was inspired by Legos. Not to mention the fact that before Doc Ock got his origin, he was a very shy, timid character who had no intentions of being a villain. Just like Ned. But like I said before, people would probably flip their shit about this being too different. But let's not forget the fact that Dr. Octopus's position from Earth 616 has already been filled. Yes, I believe that the Vulture is this universe's equivalent of Dr. Octopus, in a sense that he is the one who's the take-charge leader over all the other villains, or at least the ones we've seen so far. And he has an unspoken truce with the Spooderman now, refusing to let other people know his identity. This is similar to what Dr. Octopus once went through, before he had amnesia and completely forgot about Spooderman's identity. but I highly doubt they'll do the stupid-ass amnesia thing here. And because of his refusal to let the Spider-Cat out of the spider bag, this could mean he has some kind of arch-frenemy relationship with Spooderman, just like Dr. Octopus. So if Vulture is basically our stand-in for the traditional version of Dr. Octopus, then that gives you the opportunity to do something different, something out of left field with the actual Dr. Octopus, by making him his best friend. I mean, he already kind of has the hots for Aunt May.
So, you mean to say that if your theory is correct, then that means I was bested not by a measly little supporting civilian character. I was defeated by Doc Ock?
Exactly. I mean, I know it's a stretch, but let's not forget who MJ is in this version.
Vulture's daughter?
No, that's just what everyone speculated, but it turns out no. She's actually pseudo Mary Jane / not Mary Jane at the same time. But they were right about there being a Vulture's daughter. They were just looking at the wrong places. Because MJ, not Mary Jane, but rather Michelle Jones, was just the red herring. Because, as you know, the Vulture was very proud of his kid with their little doodle of the Avengers. Oh, it's so precious. Oh, it's refrigerator material.
I never understood why he brought that to work, though. I mean, he's a construction worker. That shit would get ripped up. You're supposed to keep that on the fridge, you dumbass.
Yeah, I get that. But what you don't see is that meant that whoever his daughter was could potentially be an artiste. And do you know who was an artiste throughout this incident? Michelle Jones. She liked to sketch people, such as Hannibal Buress.
Well, I mean, yes, Hannibal Buress is very sketchable.
And not only that, but also she looks like she could have a white dad and a black mom too.
Yeah, she's mixed race. But I wouldn't assume that's the only reason why they casted that actress.
No, it's not. It was just a happy accident, I assume. But that threw people off when it turns out in reality the actual daughter of the Vulture was Liz Allen.
I kind of knew that already. I mean, he didn't show pictures of his kids too much, but when he did, he wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. But what the hell does that matter to me anyway? I'm never gonna see Toombs ever again. He's in solitary confinement, and as soon as this interview is over, I'll go back to mild solitary confinement. Don't you understand? The crew is done.
Oh, come on. With that camaraderie you had amongst your peers, surely you don't want to give up hope that soon.
Hey, okay, so maybe we had a couple of beers after a long day, but we weren't that close. Don't you think I would have given more of a fuck when Montana shocked the bucket?
You might be right. Maybe there wasn't even a brotherhood to begin with. But it could be one.
And what makes you think we'd ever be able to get the band back together? None of the important crew members are still at large.
Maybe instead of thinking about what's left of the crew, you should be thinking about outside help. Joint ventures. Merging with other organizations.
I'm not associated with any of those goons. Well, except for maybe that weird scorpion guy.
You mean the one with the scorpion tattoo on his shoulder with your roommate back in Boulder? We are never getting older. We are never getting older. Da 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 da.
Okay, first of all, never bring up that song again. Second of all, the tattoo was not on his shoulder, it was on his neck.
Hey, I made some artistic license so I could put that song in there, alright?
And why the hell do you think that Mac Coggin would be our savior? He's in jail too. The same jail as Tooms.
Oh, you see, from what I heard, they are networking with each other, and they are conspirating something big. I'm talking about a merger!
And what the hell is so special about Mac Coggin's team?
I'm not talking about Mac's entourage that was with him at the boat meeting. I'm talking about the pals that he mentioned to Tooms. Those are the guys who are gonna be your new co-workers. As much as it pains me to see the fall of the community that Tooms had worked so hard to put together, I see it as an opportunity to be rebuilt as something different, where every employee had equal opportunity to become a flashy supervillain. And this is where Mac Coggin comes in. May I introduce you to the Sinister Six program. No longer will people be forced to have just a desk job. Everyone will be able to go out there in the field, beating the shit out of Spooderman. You've already got one eager employee, but maybe the old boss would be willing to convert. Let's see if he's a team player. But that's not all. You've got other potential employees who haven't shown what they can do yet. Why not give them a chance instead of giving them their own movies for some odd reason? You've got the villain of the Disney Tarzan movie, and you've got a special effects wizard who's not really a wizard. He's just pissed that they use CGI nowadays instead of practical effects, which will be ironic when we see him demonstrating his practical effects because they'll be rendered with CGI. But wait a minute! 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, you've got 2 spots left! One could be filled by my theorized possible Dr. Octopus, but what about the other spot? Well, this is how good of a boss Mac Coggin is. Not only is he willing to give everyone these job opportunities, but he's also willing to get his hands dirty too, and fight side by side with his employees. Now, I know there's probably a lot of concerns about this new management. I mean, isn't this man supposed to be a detective who was hired by J. Jonah Jameson for the assigned job of taking Spider-Man down? He's not supposed to already be a criminal. He's supposed to become a criminal. Well, guess what? This should not affect his resume too bad, because this is more like the ultimate version of Scorpion. Having ties with the Prowler, being just a criminal mastermind and not a detective, and also he has tattoos, and he is brown. And plus, one of the medical benefits is that your paralyzed arm gets replaced by a scorpion claw. The Sinister Six program. Sign up today. And don't be concerned if all of the spots get filled too quickly. There's always the Sinister 7 program and the Sinister 12 program. And when you get up to the Sinister Syndicate, you can have as many fucking villains as you want. just please keep in mind that if you have already shown up in the Spider-Man movies, but not in this continuity, then you may have to wait an unforeseen amount of time before you have permission to join the company. Sorry, Electro. Sorry, Lizard. Sorry, Sandman. Sorry, Rhino. Sorry, Green Goblin. Sorry, other Green Goblin. No apologies are given to Venom because he gets his own movie anyway. Now you may be wondering why I listed Dr. Octopus as one of the hopefuls. Well, it's just wishful thinking, alright? It's my personal preference. Give the fat guy some love.
Huh. You make a convincing offer, but I don't know about this. I prefer the way things used to be.
But Herman, you've gotta be open to change. Herman.
What's so funny about my name?
Oh, nothing. I mean, you gotta admit, it's kind of a funny sounding name a little bit. You know, Herman. Herman Sperman. Herman Sperman.
Hey, stop that! But it does seem like the new management would offer more benefits than the previous one.
Ooh, now you're opening up to the idea.
Hey, I haven't caved in yet, alright? I've still gotta think about this. I mean, a lot of those transactions I made with Mac were shitty, and now I have to work with him? I'm sorry, but I refuse to believe that he would be an adequate manager.
Okay, now I can understand that new bosses are very scary, but maybe he's not the new boss at all. I mean, sure, he's high-ranking, but that does not mean he's the head honcho.
Then who is?
Well, I have...
Oh, god damn it! Not another theory! Who do you think you are? Matt Pat?
No, I only stick to theories I actually know anything about.
Oh, so I guess you're more along the lines of the Super Carlin brothers.
You could say that. Hey, brother!
Don't you ever call me brother!
Sorry. But yes, I'm sorry to say, but I have another theory. But this one has more legs to stand on. Ever since 2008, people were wondering whether or not this guy actually was Amadeus Cho. That's what the novelization of The Incredible Hulk said, but was that canon? Because Cho's mother showed up in Age of Ultron, and she's younger than this guy, so that makes no sense. So it meant a looming mystery. Who was this guy really? Could he be one of us? A fellow supervillain? Well, we knew he'd be a teacher, and do you know who else started out as a teacher? Miles Warren, aka the Jackal, the man responsible for the tragic Clone Saga, and then later a more convoluted Clone Saga. But now the years-long mystery had finally been solved. His identity was Mr. Harrington, just some guy who was a principal on Earth 616, and now he's a teacher and coach of a decathlon or whatever the fuck that means. Really disappointing. So maybe Hannibal Buress is the Jackal. Oh no, wait, he's just a gym teacher.
I'm Spider-Man villain.
But then I realized, how could I be so blind? Of course, none of the actual teachers would be the Jackal, because the Jackal started out as the brother of one of Spider-Man's regular teachers, not the actual teacher. And do you remember the name of this teacher who thinks that Ned was looking at porn? Miss Warren. Yes, her brother is the Jackal. which means that not only is the Jackal Blackal, but he's also somewhere in this universe, secretly putting together his dastardly plans of Spooderman clones and Gwen Stacy clones. I mean, sure, we don't have Gwen Stacy yet, but this is probably how she's introduced. Maybe in this version she died a long time ago, and Miles Warren was Peter's age when it happened, so he's been trying to bring her back to life ever since, due to his twisted way of thinking. And in this way, it would make it a lot less creepy than how it is in the comic books, where, yeah. But there's only one problem with his presence. It would mean two characters named Miles. I mean, two people meeting each other that have the same name is very, very common in real life, but that might be asking too much from the audience to not be confused, so they'll probably have to change Jackal's name. Maybe to Michael? Oh wait, there's already Spider-Man villain named Michael. Milo! Yes, Milo Warren! Because you have to facilitate the all-important character that everyone sees as a priority to show up eventually. We've already foreshadowed the appearance of Miles Morales with the presence of the Prowler. But not the Hobby Brown Prowler, the ultimate Prowler, the one who is Miles' uncle. And he's also the one who is more villainous than the original Prowler. This is one that's very corrupted. To be ironic, how the first Spider-Man had a good uncle who was a good influence on his life, whereas this uncle is evil and is a bad influence on Miles' life. I mean, it's not like there's going to be this other movie version of this character that will go on at the same time, thus causing confusion amongst the viewers.
Man, this is some bullshit. Now the childish Gambino is gonna beat me to the punch? Not if I have anything to say about it. I'm gonna resurrect anyway. Screw you, Lando! Yes, I am back to life, and I'm gonna be the real Prowler.
But wait a minute, Mr. Cottonmouth. Shouldn't you at least try to differentiate yourself from the childish Gambino's Prowler?
Huh, you have a point, Purple Man, which means I've gotta make mine different. I know what I can do. I'll make mine animated. Yes, I'll be the cartoon Prowler. And it's gonna be state-of-the-art 3D computer animation.
So which company are you gonna rely on for that?
I expect the best of the best, which is why I'm going with Sony Animation.
Oh, that's not a bad choice. What other company would be so ballsy as to make a movie about emojis and then follow it up with a movie about the frickin' nativity?
Oh, fuck. Is it too late to switch to Pixar? Hell, I'll even take Illumination, but not Blue Sky. Maybe DreamWorks.
Wait a minute. If you get to be resurrected, then why can't I be resurrected too? I'm also a fan favorite from Marvel Netflix.
Hey, by all means, be my guest.
Alright then, here I go. I wonder which character I'm gonna be transformed into. Huh, well, this is unexpected.
See, Herman? Now isn't that a more probable theory? Herman? Herman? Where did you go? Oh, I knew I should stop admiring my work on the segments and actually be aware of my surroundings. Where is he? Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. The parole officers were right. I shouldn't have asked for gauntlets. But come on, they got to admit, the interview wouldn't have felt right if the whole package wasn't there. But no, this is bad. Now they're gonna put me in jail, which is weird that they haven't done that already, considering I'm a supervillain too. But that's beyond the point. I have to find him. I have to. But first things first, I need to deal with this power outage. It's very dangerous to be in the dark in a production studio. Oh, I need to call tech support. Hello? Spider-Ham does whatever a Spider-Ham. People think it's a reference to the Simpsons movie, and that's not true. It is a reference to the comic books. I hate it when they put me on hold. Yes, this is tech support speaking. How may I assist you on this fine day? Oh, thank God. Oh, my whole TV studio has shut down. Have you tried pulling the plug and putting it back in? I think it's a lot more complicated than that. I don't know anything about this technological mumbo-jumbo. I'm just a producer and host. And makeup. Well, can you at least tell me what caused your power outage? It was shocked by a man who has special devices on his hands. I'm sorry, that's the best I can describe it. This guy wouldn't happen to be a Mr. Herman Schultz? Oh, that's exactly the guy who did it. How do you know? 'Cause I'm the guy who made him those gauntlets. He was so unappreciative. Well, at least he was better than that Montana guy. I mean, sure, that guy had a more shocker-like jacket, but that doesn't excuse his horrible behavior towards me. Wait a minute. Were you their tech guy? Ugh, is that what they referred to me as? I told them 100 times, if you're gonna call me anything, then call me the Tinkerer. Well, that's more creative than the Shocker name, but it sounds even more sexual. And that's not even an official name of a sex move. Okay, look, what I can do is I can put both services in one package. First, there's the service of restoring your power. Then there's the service of helping you find Mr. Herman Schultz. But I warn you, when we put it together as one package, it's gonna be a really hefty price. Yeah, I'll pay it. I'll just use the medical insurance that I was going to use for reattaching my penis to my body, but both of these things are more important. Alright then, let me just go onto the mainframe and see if I can find you. Alright, there you are right there. Not a bad place to have a TV studio. Hey, have you heard how the Jets are doing? They're doing great, aren't they? Oh, that's right, it's not in season right now. Oh, I'm sorry. And there you go, the power's back. Holy shit, that was fast! What can I say? I'm the Tinkerer. I am much better than any repairman or tech support guy who ever lived. Then why are you wasting your talents there? Well, I mean, you kind of answered that yourself by not choosing me to interview about this incident. It's not that I wasn't interested in getting you, it's just that you mysteriously disappeared from the incident. You were nowhere to be seen. No one knew where you went to. And I bet that got a lot of people interested in where I went. not. No one is gonna be like, oh, I wonder what they have in store for Tinkerer in the sequel. All they think is, oh, I guess he'll just be the henchman of some other villain. That is what's on their mind. Why do you have to be so hard on yourself? That's how I'm supposed to be. Phineas Mason, aka the Tinkerer, only here to serve other supervillains. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Hey, if you want to wear a dress, then wear a dress. I won't judge. But you can't just be a slave to how you were in the comic book universe. You can be anything you want. Hey, I'm trying to set an example here, because everyone else is trying to be different than how they were in Earth 616. You got Flash Thompson being a smartass instead of a hard ass. You've got Betty Brant younger than Peter Parker. What the hell? She's supposed to be older. That's what sticks her out from all the dozens and dozens of other Peter Parker love interests. You've got Aunt May, and before you think it, the real change to worry about is that the movie abruptly ends with her finding out that Peter is Spider-Man. Yeah, I know, she's supposed to eventually find that out, but it's not supposed to be till very, very far into the mythology. They're just ripping off what Iron Man did. Way to go, Spider-Man. Is there any other influences that you've gotten from Iron Man besides everything? More than you ought to, that's for sure. You're not supposed to have state-of-the-art technology and have it be the driving force throughout the whole movie. That's just supposed to be a one-and-done thing, like the Iron Spider, not the whole thing. And don't get me started on the absence of Oscorp, or the Uncle Ben murder, or even MJ. But then you have the biggest change of them all, the piece de resistance. And I'm not even talking about the stress that Peter should have. I'm talking about Elizabeth Allen. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say, Liz Toombs. Good God! You see all of that as legitimate problems? Well, all I can say is, I used to be like that. I used to be a purist, expecting everything to be how it was before in the original. But then I realized something. The whole point of adaptations is to change, to grow, to see what was strong enough to stay and what was weak enough to be left out or changed. And if there's any property in the MCU that needs that consideration, it's Spooderman. Because out of all the other characters, this is the one we've seen the most interpretations of. A whopping two. Two other interpretations we've already seen in the theaters. So far, none of the other characters have had that many. So naturally, that would mean more consideration over what needs change. Or should I say, adjusting. Condensing, but still at the same time keeping track of what needs to be the same. Flash is still a bully, but he's the type of bully that would bother the shit out of nerds and geeks now. It used to be jocks and greasers that would give nerds and geeks shit, But that's not the case anymore. Now it's other nerds or geeks who think they're nerdier or geekier than the first nerd or geek. Therefore, he's no longer called Flash because he runs fast. He's Flash because he answers trivia questions fast. And as for that other stuff, well, you begin to notice the repetitiveness and the predictability, especially when this is the third time round. So a couple of twists and turns is actually welcome in this case. Bring on the unexpected revelations of who is the daughter of who finds out about who's secret, of who called who penis. Besides, what the hell else were you gonna do with Liz Allen other than making her Peter's love interest that he'll never get with? That's really all she is, isn't it? Sure, she eventually inherits Oscorp, but I don't think we're really gonna do Oscorp at the moment. So all you've got is her ultimate version where she's Firestar. But MCU doesn't have the rights to mutants, so screw it. I mean, it's not really that big of a change when you think about it. The Vulture has a daughter in the comic books. They just decided to combine her with Liz Allen. That's all that was. But the number one biggest reason for change of all is to be refreshing and make us realize that there's things in the Spider-Man mythology that we don't really need as much as we thought. The dark, tragic dreariness. Sure, all the previous Spider-Mans had their moments of levity, but when you looked at each project overall, it was a pretty big stone-cold bummer. Every single one would end with a tragic death that would put Peter into a depression. Oh no, Norman! Oh no, Otto! Oh no, Harry! Oh no, Captain Stacy! Oh no, Gwen! Oh no, Andrew Garfield's contract! And yet we tolerated it. We put up with that shit because we thought we had to. Because we didn't know a Spider-Man movie where it didn't have to be consistently dreary and depressing and ironic. We did not know it was possible for Spider-Man to spend the whole entire movie being happy for a change, being excited to be Spider-Man, and not hate it like it was an obligation, ruining his social life, his academic life, his career life. No! Here it's something he wants to do, in a world where no one gives a shit that he wants to. This is a universe where the Avengers exist. If you compare that to Spider-Man, he's barely anything to be that impressed by. So that makes him the underdog here. The guy who wants to do it, despite everyone else being like, oh, there's that spider dude, okay, I'm gonna go back to awing at a frickin' god. And that is why this change was good. We needed it for the sake of wanting more Spider-Man and not seeing him as something to just ignore and brush away.
Well, while you were doing that huge, long-ass monologue, I have been making use of my time, and have activated my little Droney McDronerton friend to locate Mr. Herman Schultz. Up, up, and away, good buddy. Now let me just put on my little goggles and see what he's seeing.
Wait, I thought that was just to protect your eyes from all the sparky sparks.
It has a double use. Alright, let's see here. Okay, I've already located him, and I'm getting a visual. Well, that's weird. Is this for real?
What do you see?
He's back at the prison you signed him out of. In fact, he broke back in.
What? Hey, why would he do that?
Oh, he's talking to that guy that he's done a lot of deals with over the years.
Mac Cargan?
Yeah, that guy. It looks like they're becoming really good friends. Like they're high-fiving each other and they're giving each other the fist bump, and they're also giving each other contact information.
He listened to my idea, and he likes it. Oh, I can't believe this. He really has opened up to the offer of joining the Sinister Six program. But wait a minute. He knew he was just gonna come back to the prison anyway, so why did he ditch my interview?
Probably because he was gonna avoid your long-ass, drawn-out analysis on what happened. Because let's face it, you do kind of go a little bit longer than needed.
I thought you didn't pay attention.
Oh, I paid attention all right. My brain can multitask in that way. Ugh, and I remember every little thing.
Didn't you take anything out from it? Herman Schultz is open to change, so why not you?
Even I still had to be subject to change against my will. Look at me. I'm not a little frail old man. I'm in my 30s, and I'm big and burly.
And you have a problem with no longer being a little old man?
Now that I've really thought about it, I guess no, not really. I mean, now it means that I'm not as close to death as I was before. No longer do I have cataracts or back pains or liver spots. And I've got a full head of hair. Just take my word for it.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone should complain about changes, it ought to be me. Because I'm not a little old man in Earth 616. I've got long, voluptuous hair. And it's only graying, not all gray. Not to mention the fact that I don't need LASIK surgery in that version. And I'm a big, strong-built, buff man. But do I complain? No, I don't. I could complain, but I've decided to embrace the fact that in this iteration, I'm a little old geezer. In fact, I'm not even that old. What, I'm like 53? That's not that old in 2017. And if anyone should know that, it's Aunt May.
Maybe you're right. Maybe I should embrace change. Because if I don't, I'm just gonna keep being someone else's pack mule, someone else's tech support, someone else's right-hand man. No, I can be the bride this time.
That's the spirit. But like I said, don't be afraid of even more change, such as changing the persona.
My persona as Tinkerer? I don't know about that. Who else could I be? I guess no one gives a shit about Quentin Beck or Abner Jenkins, so maybe I could be the one who becomes Mysterio or the Beetle.
Now you're thinking like the MCU, Tinkerer. You're thinking like the MCU.
Thanks, Graviton. That will be $4,000 up front.
Oh, fuck! And that was my interview with the Shocker. And it also was my unexpected interview with the Tinkerer. It taught me a lot about myself, such as how I need to prepare for these expenses. But luckily, it didn't bite too much out of my wallet. because it can still fund my next expedition. Yes, I'm going back to the great unknown, outer space. I know it feels like I just got back, but I feel the cosmos calling back to me. Lucky for me, there's no superhero battle I need to cover before then. No, that doesn't count. That's a TV thing, being released in theaters even though it clearly needs to just be on TV. So no, nothing's gonna stop me from space. In fact, I don't think I even need a crew this time. I saw how they worked the ship. It's a piece of cake. Easy peasy. Who knows how deep I'll go this time? It's not like I'm going to eat my words in November.
Hi, I'm Frederick Dukes, aka The Blob, and I'm here today to teach you kids about the dangers of STDs. STD stands for Sexually Transmitted Diseases. Am I really just here for cameos now?